Everyone, good afternoon. Let's try that again. Good afternoon. I want to thank all of you for being here, and I want to thank Essence and Global Black Economic Forum for having this conversation. My name is Chike Agu. I am your master of ceremony and moderator for this really important conversation on artificial intelligence, what you need to know for now and for the future. We are fortunate to have three amazing panelists who really, I'm just the gatekeeper too, to let you hear from about these issues, going from my left to my right. Esosa Osa, founder and CEO of Onyx Impact. Raquel Purcell, Chief Transformation Officer at L'Oreal USA. And Joycette Bamudu, who's the Executive Director of Health Equity at Merck. So why are we having this conversation? The reason we are having this conversation is that artificial intelligence is one of the most powerful technologies we have ever seen. Just to put it in perspective, ChatGPT, when it launched in September of 2022, reached as many people as electricity did over 80 years. If you look at the trillions of dollars of wealth that are going to be created, the things that you don't even realize are powered by generative artificial intelligence right now, the reach of this technology is huge, and it is only the beginning. The analogy that I use is that if you're thinking about the internet, for those of us who are old enough who remember kind of AOL, we're in 1996. If we're thinking about social media, for those again of us who are old enough who remember the world before that, we're in 2006.
Yeah.
We are at the beginning of this technology, and we need to start having the conversations now that frankly we kind of probably wish we had had then about these other technologies. And what I always say is our goal is to capture the promise and mitigate the peril. Both are real. And I'm not a techno doomsayer, I'm not a techno optimist. I believe that the power to dictate what the future looks like is in our hands. And not just in our hands, in your hands. So we're gonna have a conversation. We could have this conversation for a half hour, 2 hours, a whole day, through Monday. But we're gonna try and give you what you need to know now. And so I wanna throw the first question to Joycette. And here's how I would frame it. We've heard a lot of buzz about AI and digital health and healthcare, that this is a huge place where we can make a big difference. Talk about why that is, and talk about kind of what you see and what you are doing at Merck to make that happen.
Sure, thank you, Chike. So just by way of quick introduction, my name is Joycette Bamudu. I'm the Associate Vice President of Patient Health Innovation at Merck. And so overall, in terms of what my division and team does is, we really try to understand the day-to-day challenges that patients face as they are navigating the healthcare system. And given those challenges, we think through the appropriate solutions, much of which are digital solutions, to help them address those day-to-day challenges so that hopefully people are better able to access healthcare, are able to get diagnosed earlier in a timelier fashion, are better able to access treatment, and hopefully have a better chance of wellness overall. So that's just by way of quick background. But getting to your question, Chike, I would say the promise of AI is limitless, it's boundless. I think one thing to just quickly level set on is we tend to think about AI as futuristic, right? It's 5 years from now, it's 10 years from now. The reality is AI is here, it's present. It's embedded in the ways through which we interact with the world and in the ways we interact with each other. If you are shopping online and you're getting all of your suggestions, that's all AI. So it's here, and I think the more we just appreciate that it's here and lean in and think about the promise, I think once again the opportunities are limitless. So now, given the background and hat and industry that I come from, just want to give a little bit of perspective around how AI is shaping healthcare and the impact that it has on both physicians, practitioners, and ultimately patients. So for starters, when you think about the promise of AI in being able to shape how people can get diagnosed earlier and in a much more timelier fashion. We're talking about algorithms, sophisticated algorithms that are leveraging data and insights from electronic health records, from claims data, from really biology and biological data to help practitioners better assess what a patient may be facing, and then ultimately not just assess and evaluate and diagnose in an earlier and timelier fashion, but to think about also personalized medicine. I'm curious, when I say the word personalized medicine, how many of you guys don't know what that means? All right, so personalized medicine is when you're essentially able to better decipher the course of treatment that works for an individual based on their profile, based on their lifestyle, based on their genetics. And this is all being leveraged by lots and lots of data that's out there. And so you're better able to target what may work for that individual, once again, based on their personalized need. And because of AI, that seemed like a distant future, but in the space of cancer, in the space of cardiovascular, now you're seeing that the right and appropriate and tailored treatment option is being put forward for individuals, and it's all thanks to AI. I would say from the pharmaceutical lens, another really impressive and I think opportunistic advantages of AI is we're now able to better assess molecules and candidates and explore the next generation of treatments that are going to hopefully impact people's lives in a meaningful way. So that drug discovery and development process has now been sped up, has now been improved as a result of AI. So in the pharma world, we are leaning into AI. We're building it across, or leveraging it, I should say, across the value chain. Drug discovery and development, manufacturing, the speed to bringing products and drugs to the market quicker and faster, we're certainly leveraging that. Then I will end with saying, especially given the role that I play within my organization or corporation, we are using AI to bring information to the fingertips of individuals like you all, so that you are better able to take advantage of that information to have hopefully a better sense of what your risk may be for X, Y, and Z condition. I'll give you a quick example of that. In the cancer space, we recognize that Black and African American women had a 40% higher mortality rate for breast cancer. That is a staggering statistic. It's very hard to sort of like think about that statistic and not act upon it. And because of that, we've leveraged AI and digital solutions to create something called NIA that takes women through this very unique conversational triage where through your family history, through when you first got a mammogram or didn't get a mammogram, we are walking you through the stages of understanding your risk for breast cancer so that you could hopefully take action and get screened. So another classic example of how we're using AI to empower people to take action. So bottom line, AI is here. Let's not be afraid of it. And let's use the information that is derived from AI to take better control of our health and how we lean into health and wellness.
So let me come to Raquel. You come from the world of operations and really running businesses.
Yes.
And as I think about people here who are thinking about businesses, whether they because they work in them now or want to start them, talk about what you've seen in terms of artificial intelligence pushing the efficiency, the capacity of businesses. And let me add a little caveat here, which is we talk a lot about that in the private sector, and at times do we overshoot the mark on that and potentially miss some of the bigger opportunities with AI that in terms of impacts it could have on our businesses?
Yeah. So thank you for the question. Really happy to be here. At L'Oreal, we create the beauty that moves the world. And so with that, we are embedding AI across the entire value chain. I relate to a lot of the points that you made, because getting comfortable with integrating AI into the ways in which you're operating your manufacturing plants day in, day out, your distribution centers, there's a lot of myths that suggest that AI is going to overtake the workforce. And to be clear, it will enable productivity, but those who learn to adapt and partner with AI and have AI not become a scary thing, but to augment and give you space to upskill, it's super important. So it's here, and there are levels of activity that it will replace, but then it puts the onus back on the employees to invest in your education, invest in your skill acquisition, such that you're able to take your impact broader. Then from a corporate perspective, the investments in AI are really vast. So we're doing simple things as it relates to call centers, as it relates to how we embrace data and we assess data, but then we're doing big things as well, right? So we have over 1,000 data points about the health of your skin. So we can personalize, right, the skincare products. Very similar from a health perspective. We have over hundreds of thousands of data points to appreciate the age of every hair on your scalp. Think about that, right? And for those of us who have had different years of processing and experimentation with our hair, right? Different parts of your hair is in different, it has different health, different maturity. So those are some of the bigger things. We have announced a partnership with NVIDIA, where again, we're embedding data into our development process, such that we are able to design products specifically for you as an individual, then for races and groups of people that live in certain parts of the country. Your skin needs, your hair care needs are very different, right? If you're in a cold climate versus a warm climate. So the opportunity to have a breadth of data and information for you. So I'm putting it back to you because the importance of you taking ownership for your everyday experience, what you're eating, how you are taking care of your body, what you are putting on your skin, how you are taking care of your hair. I'm in the beauty space. We're in the beauty space. However, there's such power and opportunity in that. But we have to get curious. We have to stay curious and feel a sense of ownership for these aspects and the power of AI. I think many of us are watching what's happening in AI. We read about it. We think it's just big companies. And by the way, as big companies, if you don't invest, you will be left behind, right? It's super important. But I want to also have you as a person get excited about the power of AI and what it can do for your health, for your everyday existence. This is this magical moment where, you think about the cable channels, right? We used to have 3 channels. Then now we have thousands of channels. I would dare say too many channels, right? But then now you have these streaming services where you can personalize it and decide what and when and how you want to watch television and programming. The same opportunity, as I use that as an analogy, for then you taking control of your health and the experience and leveraging data to do so.
Raquel, thank you so much for that. And I want to come to Asosa next, and let me preface the question that I'm going to ask you with a data point and a story. So if all of you right now were to open up ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Claude, and Gemini, and ask it this question, pick a number between 1 and 50. It's amazing. I actually did this last week. They would all pick the number 27.
Wow.
All of them. No one knows why. I can kind of guess. If I did that, of course, with this group, I get a span of different answers. The reason I bring that up is you heard a lot about the promise of AI, and the promise is real. There's also a peril, and the peril comes from things like I just said. There are ways in which these technologies, particularly now, are systemically wrong.
Yeah.
And the example I just gave you was a very benign example. You all picked the same number. But if that example becomes, pick for me the best resume for someone who could work at my job. If it became, in a health context, you pick a diagnosis that actually is not representative of the person in front of you, but of the data that you have, you get, frankly, bigger consequences. And so, kind of like was said over here, the technology is here. And so the question is, in real time, how do we mitigate some of the ways in which this is systemically wrong and the ways it can impact, particularly Black communities, but communities overall? And so that's the data point. Here's the story, and it's a quote from Van Jones, who I watched to a panel almost exactly like this a year ago. And he had a quote which I love, which is, this is the ultimate equity moment for AI. Because 96% of all people, no matter their race, know the exact same amount about AI, which is nothing. And so this is the time that we want to think about how do we mitigate the peril of some of the ways this technology can be wrong so that we don't replicate some of the inequities that we're trying to mitigate right now in this room. So Asosa, when we think about AI governance, when we think about how to use this responsibly in a business context, in a systemic context, what does this group need to know about where we are right now and what each of them should be doing and what they're doing every day?
Yeah, absolutely. That's such an important question. And when you think about where we are with AI already, AI is already determining the news that we see. AI is already determining who we hire. AI is already determining our healthcare or who gets healthcare, right? In this type of situation, it is fundamentally necessary for us to understand how AI is working and leverage it for our communities, right? And that is something that Onyx Impact is working to achieve, trying to flip the script on the inherent biases that so many of these AI systems have on facial recognition systems, on the types of news and technology. And we've built something called the Digital Green Book, right? We're not waiting for permission to enter this space. You go to digitalgreenbook.org. This is a site to uplift Black news, Black truth, Black culture, to protect our kids, to help us navigate this new world of digital harms. And we've got an AI tool built for us on that site called Aisha, right? Aisha is a tool built on Black national news, on Black local news. Aisha her prompt has been filled with Black excellence, Black joy, Black history, Black trauma. And why do we do this? Why are we pushing for this type of progress, right? Because when you ask Aisha the impact of, some type of government bill that's passed, she's going to tell you the impact that it's had on Black communities, right? When you ask Aisha for investment opportunities in your city, she's going to tell you the investment opportunities for Black entrepreneurs, right? This is a situation in this moment where we need, if we're not building our own AI systems, someone else will be building them for us or building them against us, right? So how can we leverage this moment in time in history where there's so much progress? We highly recommend that folks go to the Digital Green Book, check out Aisha, and Onyx Impact. We believe that the future for Aisha is as big as our imagination. We've got a tool that is closing the gap for information, closing the gap for helping to build wealth, closing the gap for news and resources in a model that is uplifting and amplifying Black stories instead of manipulating Black people. So we believe we can imagine a situation where Aisha becomes a source, a center for Black news, Black resources, Black information. We can imagine a future where it's a platform to help us mobilize and build collective power. We can imagine a future where Aisha is preserving our history, becoming an archive for Black resilience, Black excellence, and Black stories, and amplifying our truths in an era where our truths and our histories are being erased, are being manipulated, and are being disempowered. And so I think we should be looking for tools that are serving our communities in this moment. I think we should be demanding these types of tools, because AI that serves us, it is not a niche. It is not novel. It should be fundamental.
Yeah.
It should be required. And so that is that is the lesson I would hope to encourage folks, is to look for the sources built for us, built by us, and built to fundamentally help uplift our community.
Like I said when I started, we could have this conversation for a half hour, 2 hours, days, because there's so much here. What I want to do is have each of our panelists, as we kind of round toward the end, take a minute or two and give some closing thoughts to this group, whether about what they should take away from this, either something that excites you, something that worries you, something that you want them to take with them as they think about AI, because again, we are at the beginning of a conversation. This is the internet in 1996. This is social media in 2006. So we still have, this group still have time to shape that. So starting from my right, what is something that this audience should leave with as we think about this conversation?
Sure. I think with every generation, you really see the power of innovation come to bear. And I think we're going through that special moment now. And to some extent, we're kind of beyond that moment, right? Because I think from what you've heard across the board, it's not as if we're talking about an eventual future. It's all happening in real time. So I would employ and encourage you all, first of all, because I think there's a innate sort of recognition that AI is this thing that's here, but what is it? So Google it, right? It feels like an enigma. It feels very nebulous. Actually get a better sense of what AI is and the parameters through which AI is showing up in our day-to-day lives. As it relates to healthcare, if you are a business owner, if you work in a hospital, if you work for a payer, it doesn't matter. There's a lot that AI can provide in terms of your ability to leverage the right and appropriate insights to do a better job on behalf of the communities and patients that you're serving. And then I think certainly from a place of empowerment, as we're all leaning into trying to do a better job for ourselves when it comes to health and wellness, there are amazing technologies and apps. I just mentioned what my company has really invested in, once again, to support Black women around breast health management. Better understand what those technologies and apps are to help make informed decisions about your health. So ultimately, AI is here, right? Let's lean in, let's get activated, let's get knowledgeable. Obviously, making sure the right and appropriate governance models are put in place, and I think that's where, across the board for many organizations and corporations, we absolutely have that responsibility to do that. But I think come from a place of knowledge, come from a place of empowerment, lean in and figure out, how do I leverage this to make even much more informed, activated decisions about my health?
Yes.
Raquel.
Yeah, similar. I really want to encourage people to be the change you want to see and to embrace this moment. There's a lot of scary information and perspectives out there, but flip the paradigm and become your own best source of information. It is all at our disposal. And so that's the power of this moment. We're no longer required to have our information filtered through a few specific sources. But to your point, appreciate when the algorithm is happening. It's happening all the time, right? So the news that's being pushed to you in the reels that captivate us all and can have you in your phone for several hours before you realize it, because it is catered to you. So in those moments, take your control, break that cycle. I literally set a timer when I start my reels, because it can get bad, right? It can get bad because, again, it's designed for me. But then take those opportunities for that extra time to invest, right? Understand from a financial perspective, what are the options? Own your information and embrace the power of this moment. And the last thing I will also encourage you is understand the companies that are investing and that are partnering with you and for us and about us. And I have to give a shout out also to L'Oreal as we celebrate 25 plus years commitment to DE&I, an unwavering commitment. And that is not going to change. Okay, so this universal approach to beauty, it's fundamental. There's a browning of America. We are the #1 beauty company in the world, and we will remain so because we are here, we are your partner, and we care about what's happening. But you want to make sure you understand who are the companies that you're partnering with, and not everybody's going to get it right. You're not going to get it right all the time, right? So there is also an openness to dialogue that I really want to encourage. So be the change you want to see.
So bring us home.
Absolutely. I think in this moment, it is going to be so incredibly important to understand the manipulation that is happening online and understand how we must protect our truth, protect our kids, and protect our culture, right? That is why we've got tools on the Digital Green Book to help really walk you through what does this look like on social media, what does this look like on Black apps, how do you push through, how do you find good sources, and if I can encourage folks to do anything, it's go to digitalgreenbook.org, go to Aisha, type your state in, get a list of local Black news sources, and follow them to create a healthier online ecosystem for you. And then 2, ask Aisha to explain AI to you.
I love it.
Right?
How do you
Ask
spell?
her.
How do you spell Aisha?
Aisha, A-I-S-H-A.
There we go.
At the Digital Green Book. Yes, this does not have to be a barrier, right? We should be able to explain to folks at a very fundamental level what this is, how this works, and how we can help build better and brighter communities for our folks as a result of it. So thank you.
Awesome.
Give a huge round of applause to this group. And what you've heard is, don't let AI be a thing that happens to you. Make AI a thing that happens for you and for us. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for the amazing panel.